Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Almighty Blues FC, a fan channel for all to see. And yes, of course, we are late by a minute. Apologies for that. मैं दूसरे stream में था, बीच में काट के आया हूँ. Obviously because of speaking Indian football and a lot more. हम Indian football की बात करेंगे. Of course, India versus Hong Kong, India versus Afghanistan, late reaction. Plus, of course, the big transfer news that is for Liverpool especially, but even Chelsea and other clubs. And that is where I needed someone जो combination लाए और वो है Johnson, perfect guy मेरे लिए from Super Power Football. Johnson, first of all, welcome to Almighty Blues FC. First time that I'm having the pleasure to have you. But Johnson, how have been the last 48 hours for you after that Afghanistan game?
Firstly, really happy to be here. Thank you for having me on. And yeah, the last 48 hours, to be honest, is has been quite like I don't know. It's been surreal because all the way up till I think the equalizer, it felt like same old story, just like every other,
हाँ
just
बिल्कुल
like every
बिल्कुल
other, every other time.
इनफैक्ट सुनील छेत्री सर का जो गोल था ना उसके पहले वो एग्जैक्ट फीलिंग मेरे मन में था कि यार वही हो रहा है कि एट द एंड ऑफ द डे वही स्ट्रगल कर रहे हैं गोल स्कोर करने का बट देन वी काइंड ऑफ चेंज थिंग्स एंड अगेन बैक टू स्क्वायर वन व्हाट एड्रेनलिन रश यार भाई
I
मतलब
swear,
बट
man.
जॉनसन ऑनेस्टली बोलो in the last few years, well, you have been following Indian football for quite a while, I know that. Huh? So, in the last few years, do you remember any game जो इतना basically drama create करे? I know it's the SAF championship final, you can say a lot, many moments जो हुए थे. We had great performances. I think against Qatar, quite good performance था. I remember that. लेकिन एक होता है ना moment, just a moment in Indian football. Where would you place this moment?
I think like the Qatar game is a good shout. The Qatar game definitely was a performance that was really something for Indian football to remember, even though it wasn't a win. In terms of just performance, I think Thailand, when we beat Thailand,
Yeah,
that would have been probably the last time I like you remember watching the Indian football team and the result actually justifying the performance and you walking away with a happy smile on your face. Even like yesterday, I mean day before yesterday for that matter, I don't think we were that great, to be very frank. There was a lot of great approach play, but there was just no cutting edge.
Mhm.
But we got the result, and I don't know, it's what I've been saying since the start of these qualifiers. It's all about three results. Just like
Yeah,
teen
yeah.
win चाहिए, कैसे आएंगे, what are the
बस
goals?
चाहिए बस चाहिए
But
क्योंकि मोमेंटम यार प्रॉब्लम इंडियन फुटबॉल की यही है लाइक अगेन फॉर समवन हु काइंड ऑफ आई हैव बीन फॉलोइंग इंडियन फुटबॉल क्लोजली बट अगेन देयर हैव बीन टाइम्स आई नो मैं झूठ नहीं बोलूंगा कि यार आई हैव बीन डीमोटिवेटेड एज वेल एंड आई हैव लाइक ओके नहीं व्हेन यू आर हैविंग अ मैच मे बी एट अ सिमिलर टाइम जहां पर एक क्रिकेट मैच आ रहा है वर्सेस सम अदर ईपीएल मैच और ला लीगा मैच I have preferred the other one which is bad of me I know but there have been times but like at the same time this is a time when you feel नहीं first of all football is back to India ठीक है you have international football back to India which itself is a big deal आप देखो कोलकाता the way they have just absorbed it I know
yeah.
off the field issues भी है जिसकी हम बात करने वाले हैं absolutely लेकिन on the field just and of course when I say on the field that includes the crowd that includes the crowd the crowd मतलब ऐसा support I could actually sense what is the kind of atmosphere there is even watching it on TV the other day ठीक है दैट वाज अ काइंड ऑफ सपोर्ट और एक अलग ही मेरे पैशन एटमॉस्फेयर जो बनता है ना इन अ स्ट्रेंज वे दैट काइंड ऑफ maybe helps us to get the momentum I know not in terms of performances जैसे आपने बोला कि it's about getting that result and that may give us a confidence to play with flair starting minute one do you think that will kind of come about or I'm just being too ambitious यहाँ पर
No, I think like that you have a very fair point, especially in the way that the Indian football team plays right now and the way we used to play earlier. And like
Mhm.
to be very honest, I am a huge fan of like how the Indian football team played during the early 2000s. Despite like it not maybe being the most memorable phases, but the point is, I feel in the last few years we've seen a lot more impetus on philosophy, on control, on sort of like flair and creativity. And you can see that with players like Ashik, with Liston, with like Sahel for that matter, coming and making a difference. So definitely the level of like quality has gone up. That's also really helped because of the number of people watching and the kind of infrastructure that the ISL has created. Um,
Mhm.
I don't think it's a like unfair shout to say that we should be playing the kind of football we played against Afghanistan more often, because we definitely can. The players that played against Afghanistan and Cambodia for that matter have shown that we can. And very frankly, in the AFC Champions League, like these same players have done the same. Like I mean, FC Goa played
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the AFC Champions League as the first ISL team, and they did so well. They played a game without any foreigners, and in the AFC competitions you can only play three. This was a predominantly Indian team for FC Goa, which was made up of local players, not even like Indian internationals. I think I
Yeah,
mentioned
fair
it
enough.
before. Like I think Brandon was the only Indian international in that FC Goa side, and the rest of the team was just littered with like local players who showed that if your coach and your team has a plan of how you want to play and you know that plan well, yeah, it's 11v11 at the end of the game. Like
हाँ,
and
मतलब
then
you have to kind of believe in that and trust, और एक
exactly.
process होता है which you have to follow. और again, like मैं वही बोल रहा हूँ ना, having 3 matches on the trot in Kolkata, was, I think, it's a blessing in disguise. I really genuinely believe that, क्योंकि यार that entire team was there together for that period, and in a normal environment, जो last 2 साल में environment was very different. We all know it's not easy to kind of play away, etc. But again, we'll come to the behind the field issues as well, absolutely. लेकिन बिग पॉइंट यहाँ पर जॉनसन ने बताया अबाउट आईएसएल, एंड अगेन पर्सनली स्पीकिंग, अगेन आई हैव सीन the kind of improvement to same players कर रहे हैं because of ISL, because of AFC Champions League. Those are things that really puts them in the space कि यार आप you're rubbing shoulders against the better than you players more often. So that is what gets you to that kind of confidence level that you really need. लेकिन again, Akash, by the way, big up Akash थे शायद मैच में. Akash, do let us know your experience as well, and hopefully I'll have you in the channel as well sometime in the future. Ticket issues again for the fans. How hard is it to manage that? Seriously, AIFF. Now this is something that I know that Hong Kong, by the way, which we'll talk about. If I'm not wrong, they are also getting a few thousand tickets for sure. Lekin I know that there are issues when it comes to basically, as in किसको जा रहा है कितना ticket. That is the main issue, right? But
Yeah, I think
uh,
there's a lot of mismanagement, to be very honest.
right.
Like in terms of like how the three match days have been put together. Um, it's hard to actually pinpoint what is wrong. Because
Mm-hmm.
some of the like errors were just inexplainable. Like how can we not have the right national anthem ready? Stuff like that. So it's or for that matter, like how are we like one day before the game, how are we realizing that we have so many unsold tickets that we can't sell because online tickets and offline tickets are having administrative issues. So obviously I think these
तो
issues
क्या आप
are
बोलोगे,
really.
is it unplanned? Is it purely a naivety of on the part of IAF, which is, I know, not an excuse acceptable at all. लेकिन it almost comes across as unplanned to me, rather than saying that नहीं कि there is under table work going about who's getting the tickets, etc. It seems almost unplanned.
It is. I would say, like, I mean, from everything that I've heard and like I've been part of as an Indian football fan, it is just poor planning. It is poor planning because probably one, they didn't expect the demand for the tickets to be that high that close to the game, and two, there was no infrastructure to actually serve that demand.
Mhm.
Whether that is just the Indian fans that wanted to watch, or I mean in person, or in the past we've seen like Indian fans who wanted to watch the games that we are playing abroad. Like we've had instances when you don't have a stream to watch your national team.
Oh
Again, we
yes,
have
I
to watch
remember those.
Arabic
मतलब
comment.
I remember going on stream myself as a panel, or basically hosting it myself. In the past, I this is the number one question I always get कि भाई मैच कहाँ पर देखे, आप बता दो, वो that is the main thing. यार मैच
Exactly.
देखने को तरस जाते हैं भाई, मतलब I'm telling you that is how it is, that's how bad it is. Again, being in India, maybe आप बोल सकते हो there was basically एक assumption कि नहीं यार यहाँ पर आ जाएंगे बहुत सारे fans and there'll be things, but again it has been a bad distribution, which is a mess. Absolutely, I 100%
Yeah.
agree with Akash here. But I think यहाँ पर थोड़ा टीम की बात कर लेते हैं यहाँ पर. Let's see, as in any idea why is he not playing?
I think Naurem's not suffered from a lack of game time. Like to me, I mean, or to anyone who follows Indian football, like Naurem really announced himself with that famous goal for Indian Arrows. I think he was 17 at that time. He picks up the ball in the left wing, like dribbles past two or three, chops in onto his right, like slots it past the keeper. In fact, I think made a video a couple of seasons ago or something about top 5 youngsters to watch out for, and Nauram was in my list.
He's one of them.
So,
Okay,
like, to be
fair
very
enough.
honest, I'm as surprised as everyone. However, there's a lot of I think a lot of sort of behind the scenes things that we aren't aware of. And like, I feel like when a player actually overcomes that and establishes himself, they're a far better rounded player. Like, for example, we've seen with Sahel. He's not had an
Exactly.
easy journey in any like respect. After like announcing himself, after becoming, like, the golden boy of Kerala, like, he didn't really get the easiest 2 seasons. Like, he's probably had to work for it, and finally in the last season he's got a role, he's got a team that actually plays to his strengths and brings out the best in him. And we're seeing a much better rounded player, someone who can both handle the difficult part as well as the, like, the easy one. So I think,
Yeah, yeah.
like, for young players like Naurem, and I would put like quite a few in that list actually. Naurem's just one. There's also Leon Augustin at Bengaluru,
Yeah.
who really burst onto the scene. There's obviously Komal Tatal, who everybody remembers. And in fact, it did seem like there was a resurgence of Komal Tatal this season too. So there are obviously a lot of these youngsters who actually really let up the scene, and then obviously the reality kicks in when you have to really not just do it for a limited period of time, but year in, year out. And they're all kids, so we got to remember that everyone's learning. It takes time.
Fair enough, fair enough. और यार मतलब just to kind of share with you all, and again यार काफी लोग जुड़ गए. Hopefully we'll have that double number of people watching, and उनको कैसे मत पता चलेगा. आप लोग सब like ठोक दो जो भी आए. Just press of a button is the thumbs up button. So just press the like. Certainly, I'm pretty sure there will be lots here. We'll talk about India, Hong Kong. We'll again talk about the Indian team, off-field issues, and of course, transfers when it comes to European football, because we kind of love all the football, right? तो हम काफी बातें करने वाले हैं, लेकिन हाँ, do not forget to subscribe not only to Almighty Blues FC and Almighty Sports Plus, but come on, Super Power Football. It's a channel that I've been following for a very, very long time, and of course, they have been kind of on and off, but I know that they are literally super power football, and that's why I kind of follow them. So give them a follow for sure, right, everyone? So just continuing the topic, or rather मैं यहाँ पर बोलना चाहूँगा थोड़ा सा, क्योंकि यार थोड़े youngsters की बात हो रहे. मतलब for me, the way I see it, the kind of impact and the kind of जो skill set है, Liston, man, I am like in love with Liston. Okay, I'm like not only me, I'm pretty sure half of India is आज के दिन में. Liston is having that amount of ability in terms of taking it to the next level proper. Like in terms of defense, मैं बोलूँ तो भाई I am a Roshan Singh fan. No surprises. Bengaluru FC. लेकिन Roshan Singh, I think if not wrong उसको मिला भी था शायद most promising इस बार शायद. I still remember.
Yeah. And he just signed a contract extension, like, I think 3 days ago with Bengaluru. Like, I've been saying, like, Roshan should be in the starting lineup since the first game. I was very surprised actually to see him in the starting lineup, to be very fair, because it is very like Eco's team has to actually go safe. But Roshan, both this year and in the 2 games, really showed maturity beyond his years. The fact that I love the most about him is 2 feet, man. Like, where do you find that in fullbacks nowadays?
Exactly. That is coming to exactly that point. यार मतलब that is something, मतलब you can surprise the opposition. You never know ना. और that is हम in football general भी कितने बार देखने को मिलता है. I know Chelsea में we used to have a Louis Baker who used to do that, but he never kind of went to the next level. But really there, man. I've not seen in modern football इतने लोग, to be really honest about it. So that would be brilliant. Like, if he can improve on his kind of efficiency, na, I can see him, being a great set piece taker also in future. I can see, like, him being actually get that. Or abhi to yaar, he has higher ceiling, far higher ceiling. He will certainly, learn a lot. Like, so what is the future of Sumit Rathi?
I think Sumit Rathi is again like someone who suffered from a lack of game time this season. Being at ATK Mohun Bagan didn't help because he's competing against Sandesh and, like, Terry, not really the easiest two to displace in the starting lineup. So for a young player like Sumit Rathi, it was very dependent on the system that ATK Mohun Bagan play under Habas, because when they would play 3 at the back, I think Sumit Rathi got a lot more opportunity. We got to see what potential he has, and as a player how good he can be. But when obviously the coach changes, the system and the philosophy changes, like, it is not an easy ask to actually displace Sandesh out of any lineup, let alone
Yeah, but
weekend.
well, as much as we love our, as a youngish sort of team that you're talking about, like the reality is, आज के दिन में, who are the people really standing out on the pitch, right? I mean, Sunil Chhetri sir is still standing out, right? He's by far the most important player on the pitch when it comes to international football, and again, that is why Sandesh does that in your backline. ठीक है, तो आपको संदेश अगर नहीं चाहिए तो I have to talk to you, boss, for anyone out there who's not saying that. But again, yeah, people, do not forget, why should we subscribe? They're not uploading videos. Bhai, I'm telling you the matter of fact, the kind of work that they do in terms of quality is second to none. Secondly, the thing is,
No, I think
there
that's a
are a
very
lot
fair
of,
point.
yeah, please.
I mean, it's a very fair point that's been raised, and like if you don't mind, like I'd like to address that.
Please do.
Yeah, like Rex, to be quite honest, our channel was banned for a few months on socials. There was a copyright issue, which meant we couldn't use our social channels for a good more than half a year. So it meant that like basically the team that was working on Super Football no longer had a channel to work on. And now that things are getting back to normal, we are working on a lot more content, and we will be uploading a lot more videos, not just Indian football, but just football in general. That's the aim with coming onto streams like this and basically collaborating with other content creators. So yeah, like fair point. I think we haven't been uploading videos, as I said, the reason why. But we are trying to get back, and hopefully
Exactly.
you'll see a lot more of us.
नहीं बिल्कुल, और in fact, like, to be very honest about it, again, like, me as a football fan in general, like, I say it's Almighty Blues FC fan channel for all to see. We believe in all football. So for me, Super Power Football was a place to go, okay, when it comes to Indian football in general, in particular as well. So that is where I obviously was lucky enough to contact Johnson, और हम बात किए इसके बारे में, and you can see Johnson much more already, if not, more in the coming days for sure. Lekin definitely everyone do like, subscribe to our channel as well as them. Highly recommended. Trust me, none of us will let you down. Absolutely. Lekin talking about just quickly on that Afghanistan game again, or maybe we'll kind of mix the two. Afghanistan, of course, कल Hong Kong के साथ है. Sahel, आप बात कर ली already, right? Sahel Abdul Samad. So
Yeah.
the guy comes on for Sunil Chhetri. ठीक है, half of India is like on tweets at the moment it happens. और सुनील छेत्री सर, उनका खुद का बॉडी लैंग्वेज, वी ऑल सॉ हाउ इट वाज. ऑफ कोर्स, इन अ स्ट्रेंज वे यू कैन से दैट ही वाज व्हाट क्रिस्टियानो रोनाल्डो वाज फॉर पोर्चुगल. एग्जैक्टली वही कर रहे थे. और वो लिटरली आते, नॉट ओनली डज ही चेंज द बॉडी लैंग्वेज ऑफ द टीम इवन बीइंग ऑफ द पिच, तो ही आल्सो प्लेज अ रोल, मेजर रोल, but also on the pitch Sahel actually scores, man. As in, come on, you got to say both need to start now in the Hong Kong game, right?
I mean, that's a good shout, but who in place of who would be my question? Because
that's the only thing.
you really can't be that be that critical of anybody who started the game against Afghanistan, because everybody did play really well. In terms of I think Sahel definitely should start for me. I would give Manveer a rest, because I feel against Hong Kong we're going to have a lot more of the ball, in my opinion. And very frankly, I want to see Liston on the left, Sahel through the middle, and Ashik off the right. I want to see that happen once, because in my opinion, I think those are the three best attackers that are suited for international football among our current crop. Yeah, as we spoke about Liston, I think Liston, he's got that touch of class, that magic, that he can actually turn the game on his head all by himself.
He's the Luis Diaz of Indian football.
That's nice. That's high praise. Yeah. But apart from that, I think Ashik, I've said it for a long time, in my opinion, is physically the most gifted player we have for this level to compete with teams that are from West Asia, or in this matter Hong Kong. He's got the physicality to play at that level, and I feel like while he did really well on the left, and that is his natural position, I would really like to see him off the right, with Sahel in the middle. And Sahel, purely because I feel he's coming off such an amazing season, playing as that a midfielder who breaks late into the box. Having these three behind the captain, it is really something I would like to see before the captain hangs up his boots.
Coming to that itself, again, going with Sunil Chhetri's first statement itself, or I think Steam Match has kind of backed that as well. इट इज नॉट डन येट. और फिर पीपल जो भी ज्वाइन किए अभी और जिनको बेसिकली इंडियन फुटबॉल और अदर AFC एशियन कप फॉर्मेट को नहीं पता, आई एम जस्ट काइंड ऑफ रिपीटिंग इट हियर. So basically क्या है, 24 teams if I'm not wrong are qualifying उसमें भी and अभी 11 teams are yet to qualify for next year the AFC Asian Cup. और 11 teams में you have obviously 6 groups. India group D में है. Group D में basically we are as things stand second because of Hong Kong beating Cambodia 3-0 versus India beating them 2-0. So I think there's a goal difference of 4 versus 3. लेकिन qualify कौन होगा? Basically the winner definitely qualifies. And the runners up, the best 5 runners up qualify. ठीक है. तो out of 6 groups 5 आप बोलोगे almost it's kind of done, but it's not done till it's done. So Sunil Chhetri sir has said that, as well as obviously Steam has backed it. Where are you seeing, like, is it like India has to win because of momentum, or even when it comes to qualification, getting a high qualifying as the top will matter a lot, won't it? Even for Steam match, the way Steam match out वो सब आ रहे हैं, तो where are you on everything on this?
I think it's a must win. Like, the task doesn't change because of results in the other groups. Like, the idea was to win the group and qualify, and that's what I think we should have. We should go into the next game with, purely because you don't want to leave it to chance, especially we are not really that great on goal difference either. If you compare us to, say, maybe the top 2 in the group of basically the best runners up, like we're not close to them in terms of our goal difference either. So
okay, let me actually try and show the tables as well, so that people get an idea. By the way, Football Creeks question को quickly address कर देता हूँ. There are just 3 games. Johnson, I hope I'm correct there, right? There are just 3 games. Second leg नहीं है, और that's why we are having the advantage of playing all 3 games in Kolkata, and we should definitely go for a must win, I would say. ठीक है. So that I agree 100% with Johnson वहाँ पर. तो ये this is what our group is like. If you're able to see, I hope you're able to see and try and maximize a little bit more. तो Hong Kong obviously at 6 points, India at 6 points, but +4 +3 है. आप देखो ये this is the last match, and by the way कल Afghanistan are playing Cambodia. That is more like a formality. लेकिन if you see the other groups, right, I'll just quickly show the other groups. यहाँ पर Group A again Indonesia, technically they are on 3 points. So वहाँ पर probably you can say that हमें upper hand है. Then we have Philippines 4. यहाँ पर भी अभी as of things stand we have upper hand. But again, a win for them and a loss for us with a bad goal difference can actually bring us down as well. Thailand is on better position than us. They have a goal difference of 5, and we have Group E में Malaysia. We are on the upper hand. So abhi, you're right. As in, there's just 2 or 3 teams that we are having an upper hand against, which is not a great position to be in, or not a position जहाँ पर आप बोलोगे you're like totally safe. So I think we should just be positive and go for the win no matter what it. And by the way, जॉनसन हमने हांगकांग के साथ 1993 में लास्ट जीता था, something like that. Is it true?
Yeah, I mean, Hong Kong aren't really a football team, to be honest, like that we face often.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't cross paths often because when we play AFC, usually we end up first beating teams around the subcontinent, then you play West Asian teams, or at best you play East Asian teams like Thailand or Vietnam and those. So it's very rare that you actually play against them unless you're facing off against them in, like, say, the Asian Cup.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. Lekin last 3 बार जब भी I think if we face them, we have not beaten them. I think 2 बार हारे, 1 बार draw हुआ है from what I remember. Again, not fair to judge क्योंकि यार totally different team थी.
Exactly, and I feel like totally different circumstances also. Like, I mean, if you look at Indian football and how it has changed from like the last time we beat them to now, like 1993, we're talking about before the National Football League started. So at that time,
कोई लोग चैट में बोलेंगे भाई तो कब का बात कर रहे हैं, मैं खुद ही born हुआ था. Like I'm pretty sure. Lekin 2010 I think was the last time we actually played them in a proper competitive game. So even that is like 12 साल हो गए भाई, तो it's absolutely not possible at all. Okay, it was better you scroll down to see the table of the second best team. They have a separate table for comparison. Okay, fair enough. We'll try and show that as well. Lekin I think it's kind of clear now, in terms of where we are standing. I would agree 100% that we have to go for a win no matter what. Absolutely, that is for sure. But again यार I think काफी लोग और जुड़ गए, तो hopefully everyone is like the stream and given a shout out definitely to Super Power Football by actually subscribing to them, and of course Almighty Sports Plus. वहाँ पर और काफी आने वाला Indian football in future. That's what हम एम कर रहे हैं, बट इंडी कॉप इन हाउस, बिग अप इंडी कॉप को. एंड pretty sure मैं नितिका को भी लाना चाह रहा था, लेकिन मैं सोचा यार she must be like really on a high after that game, and then let me see if she's free, but let me actually call her the next time around. How important is Gurpreet Singh Sandhu as well for us? The point blank save he made kept us in the game against Afghanistan. Well, this is something that we spoke about the defense, but I think we have to give it to Gurpreet Singh, huh?
Yeah, I mean, Gurpreet is absolutely the wall. Like at least, especially for us in the national team. Obviously, he's had his moments and errors, but when you really require somebody to stand up and kind of pull off a save, I think that 73rd minute save down to his right, unbelievable. We go 1-0 down there. I mean, it becomes a completely different game. I'm a little worried for Gurpreet. Very frankly speaking, he got involved in the
because of
melee
cutting
at the
money.
end. No, he got involved in the melee at the end.
Oh, that okay, yeah.
And I mean, we're in the world right now where nothing goes unseen. So there is footage that the AFC and the officials would be investigating. He did, I think, land a punch. He got one back two. In all of the scuffles. So I just hope that I mean, for Afghanistan, they don't really have anything to lose. I mean, if they get suspended, doesn't really matter. But for us,
exactly,
like, if misses the game,
you never know with appeals यार कहाँ जा रही है. लेकिन मतलब again, I know that you can say that you're worried. Definitely Gurpreet, the kind of as in you can speak about Sunil Chhetri sir. Gurpreet Singh technically has probably been at the highest pinnacle of football for Indian.
I mean, he's the first Indian to play in the Europa League. I mean,
exactly. So I think that needless to say, I might just joke around saying that Katti Bani who had a fantastic end to the ISL. आप बोल सकते हो कि he might be ready, लेकिन come on, and Gurpreet Singh is Gurpreet Singh, and I totally agree with that. If he's missing huge portion of leadership as well as someone who's effective on the pitch, no matter what, वो missing हो सकते हैं. So let's see. Absolutely, goalkeepers are underappreciated across the world. Exactly, Mendy for Chelsea, Courtois for Real Madrid. That I'll come to, and Gurpreet for India. Aditya, 100% agree. Generally speaking, for you with you on that. Lekin we have to speak about the opposition again. Hong Kong it is. So scoring those goals that they did, of course, looks like they are coming on a high. I think Matt Orr, he's the guy. I think if I'm not wrong, उनका New Zealand का background है, and he's actually really come up the trumps. So he's the main guy from what I know about. But what is the way they play? Anything that you know about Hong Kong? You've got a chance.
To be honest, I haven't really watched a lot of Hong Kong. I'm not really going to say that there is any basis of my analysis apart from the highlights that we all watched. But they do have a couple of interesting, expat Brazilian players. So that would be that is something both our coaches also alluded to in the past. But I from what they showed against Afghanistan, they don't look like a team that actually sits back and kind of plays as an inferior team. So you're not going to find similar to Cambodia where Liston's running at the defense and there are all 10 players in their own half. That's not likely to happen against Hong Kong. But having said that, the FIFA ranking is not accurate, but it's indicative, and they are poorly ranked for a reason. So I don't think we should go in there thinking that we are underdogs or anything. We should go in there quite clearly to establish dominance, to start the way we did against Afghanistan, and make sure that we make the home crowd count. Playing at the Salt Lake, playing with all of those fans behind is a privilege that I really hope all of the young boys in the national team really value, because this doesn't really happen that often. Especially as you said, 3 games back to back. That's like a week of a football festival in Calcutta. Now, if you're an Indian football fan, that is exactly where you'd want to be for that week. So, make the most of it, and let's end on a high. That would be how I think we should.
I think that's what it is. Oh yeah, quickly मैं ये देना चाहूँगा shout out to Hong Kong's manager. If I'm not wrong, ex-Frankfurt player रहे हुए. So that is something that if I'm not wrong, Anderson is named. So he's actually been at the highest level as well. लेकिन यहाँ पर again, sorry Johnson, I have to take this comment. ठीक है, यहाँ पर मैं करूँगा address क्योंकि यार ऐसे जो होते हैं ना, थोड़े चंद लोग के कारण ना हमारी जो फुटबॉलिंग कम्युनिटी ना काफी बदतर हो जाती है। एक चरण, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल थैंक यू, आपने अपना बहुत ही अच्छा समय निकाल के आप आए हैं। और यस, डेफिनेटली गंगा में हाथ धोने जाते हैं भाई लोग, अब डेफिनेटली जाते हैं। लाइक नहीं दूंगा, मत दीजिए यार, आपको कोई फोर्स नहीं कर रहा है, एब्सोल्युटली नहीं कर रहा है। और आप एक चरण भाई, आप कितना जानते हो मेरे बारे में, आप कितना जानते हो जॉनसन के बारे में? मैं तो आपको पहली बार देख रहा हूँ यहाँ पर, ठीक है? आप अगर पर्सनली जानते हो तो मुझे मैसेज करिए भाई। आप कितना जानते हो मेरे को, आप कितना जानते हो कि मैं फॉलो किया कि नहीं किया, आप कितना चैनल को फॉलो किए हो। आप जाकर प्लेलिस्ट जाकर देखो, इंडियन फुटबॉल कंटेंट देखो वहां पर, ठीक है? आप देखो व्हाट आई एम स्पीकिंग। और अगर नहीं भी करता हूँ, आज के दिन में इतने फॉलोअर्स है जो फॉलो करते हैं ब्रिटिश फुटबॉल और व्हाट नॉट, ये एब्सोल्युटली एग्री। इंडियन टीम में देख लो, प्रीटी श्योर, 100% श्योर, हर एक जन बहुत सारा फुटबॉल सीखा है बाय वाचिंग दैट फुटबॉल। एब्सोल्युटली कुछ गलत नहीं है उसमें। तो प्लीज आप सोचिए यार, इट्स नॉट हाउ विल वी ग्रो। आप अपने घोड़े जैसे आप एक ही डायरेक्शन में देखोगे नहीं होगा। यू हैव टू लर्न फ्रॉम द बेस्ट। और हाउ डू यू लर्न फ्रॉम द बेस्ट? यू हैव टू वॉच दैट, यू हैव टू एनालाइज दैट, यू हैव टू प्ले विद देम। अच्छा, दैट डजंट मीन दैट वी आर नॉट सपोर्टिंग इंडियन फुटबॉल, ठीक है? तो आप ऐसे मत सोचिए। और लाइक आई एम सेइंग, प्लीज गो एंड चेक आउट द प्लेलिस्ट, प्लीज गो एंड चेक सुपर पावर फुटबॉल भाई, एक चरण, प्लीज, आपको पता लग जाएगा। तो आप प्लीज ऐसे कमेंट आते हैं ना, तो बाकी लोग सोचते हैं दिस इज हाउ वी आर। तो आई वुड लाइक टू डिफेंड माई सेल्फ इन सुपर पावर फुटबॉल, आई विल बी वेरी क्लियर ऑन दैट, ठीक है? बट यस, देन वी हैव, let me take few more, which all recognized striker we have now apart from Sunil sir. Bhai, matlab, I think again, Ashik, would you call him a proper striker, Anwar Ali?
Not really. I think Ashik is more like a wide guy for me, especially down the left. But then it depends, if Liston wants to really make the left wing his own, then I would play Ashik either down the middle or down the right. In terms of strikers, for me, I think Rahim Ali is someone that both
Rahim
the
Ali,
coach has
sorry, yeah.
spoken about. Rahim Ali from Chennai, and like he looks like a proper number 9. He looks like someone who can actually gets you excited. But apart from that, also if you look beyond, there are quite a few young strikers that could really make a case for themselves. Ishan Pandita is someone that is often mentioned, and rightly so. His goals to game ratio is just simply unreal. Also, I think Vikram Pratap Singh for Mumbai City FC, he's a really, really bright spark. A little bit more like of a wide forward than a number 9. But similarly, there's, I think, Farooq also, and Devendra at FC Goa. So I would say that the perception that there is no life beyond Sunil Chhetri is wrong. There is a lot of life. There is a lot of young forwards there. However, I feel they all have a very big case to make for themselves if they want to take up that spot.
Okay, my question is Johnson, bhai, is that I know we can't allow, okay, but why can't we naturalize some African player? Don't we have money? Yeah, are you for that?
To be quite honest, I really don't like the PIO and OCI argument, because I feel like that's an excuse. Like, very frankly speaking, ever since the topic came up and it's been in conversation, it's an easy way out, for I don't know, for media, for management, to kind of pinpoint and say that's why we didn't do what we should do. See, there's no reason why we shouldn't be developing our own players, and why we shouldn't actually be progressing much faster than we are. Baichung played in England at Bury in 1999. Played for Neil Warnock. Someone every Premier League fan knows and recognizes. Baichung played for him at the start of the century, which means that we had the kind of players required to play in England, albeit the championship. We had the quality to play in Malaysia. Before we know it, Sunil was playing in Kansas in the MLS. He played in Sporting. Sandesh went to Croatia, Slovenia, and even Gurpreet played in the Europa League. So it's not like we don't have the quality of players that we require an OCI or a PIO player. Why is the infrastructure around them not good enough that other players can make that leap also? Why do we have to wait for one Baichung, one Sunil, one Gurpreet, and then one Sandesh for it to happen? It should be a bunch of 4 players that play abroad.
No, I genuinely believe, yaar, to be honest about it, again coming back to the ISL, and of course वो debate तो बाकी है about I League versus ISL, वहाँ पर एक problem अभी भी है, we know that as a matter of fact. तो वहाँ पर if for some reason, that merge will never happen. We know because of administrative things like that, and there's competition. What no, non-competition rather actually. So वहाँ पर we can have a larger pool of players to pick with. ज़्यादा competition बढ़ सकता है because वहाँ पर भी थोड़े international players हैं, यहाँ पर भी है तो or they have to just kind of increase ISL and just get more players, get more matches. That is the best way, I think, in my opinion, which can really improve the quality of football. What do you think? Like, what's the best quality apart from the coaches and other things, setups, etc., behind the scenes as well?
See, I think like the I League gets a lot of bad rep in terms of just because not the same amount of people are watching it doesn't mean that it's a bad league.
Right.
In my opinion, I think the I League is far more competitive than the ISL. There's a fair argument to make whether the level of football is the same, and the level of football isn't the same, in my opinion. The I League isn't at the same level of the ISL, and that's only because of the larger wallets that ISL clubs have. However, that doesn't mean that it's a less competitive league. I mean, Gokulam have won the league 2 times in a row. They're an amazing team. They beat ATK Mohun Bagan I think 4-2 in the AFC Cup in the group game. They did lose the remaining games, but that clearly shows that they have the level to compete. And if things go according to plan, there should be promotion relegation between the I League and ISL in the next 2 years, which means that Gokulam have earned the right not once, not twice, probably by the time this happens 3 times, to be that next team into the ISL. And that's when I think it'll be a level playing field, because you got to understand that the budgets that these teams work at are completely different. Like a Gokulam cannot afford to have a player like Alvaro Vasquez that Kerala Blasters have. They're just 150, 200 kilometers apart, but the budgets that these teams are working on are astronomically different.
Yeah, fair enough. But by the way, again, a lot of people have joined us. Hopefully, everyone is liked, except for that one person, which I'm again not going to be jumping under. But to be very honest about, yes, I did go on a mini rant midway through the stream. For those of you who do not know, and the reason is I know probably we should not kind of focus on such comments. The idea is it's very easy for someone to just sit behind the keyboard and say what they want to say, right? As in, come on, I'll bring you on, man. As in, come on, I challenge you. Come and create a channel. Create content every day, and we know as content creators, what we are trying. We try. Obviously, I would want to cover everything possible. It's not humanly possible, and that's what we want to grow to. And of course, आप लोग जो हो, आप लोग के वजह से maybe we'll be able to grow slowly but steadily. We are a family. Same thing I'm saying like for Super Power Football. तो वहाँ पर हम grow करके hopefully we can get a lot more. And the idea is to spread the word यार. जब भी मौका मिले ना, सब लोग को मैं बोल रहा हूँ यहाँ पर, be it your country, and of course यहाँ पर इंडियन फुटबॉल की बात कर रहे हैं, जब भी मौका मिले, there is nothing wrong. Do not discourage anyone who's trying to spread that word. It can only be positive. Trust me that it can only be positive. So that's what I'm going towards. लेकिन यहाँ पर 8744 in the house. Big up to 8744. And of course, people are here even for the European football talk, and we'll come to that. We'll do a lot of transfer talk. Of course, Liverpool fan in the house, Johnson, or of course me being a Chelsea fan and AC Milan. So let's see. We'll have a lot of talk, and yes, absolutely. Big up to Zishan Bhai and Nitika. They were there. And of course Akash as well. Akash जो लिखते हैं वो भी थे. I know as a matter of fact, and I'm pretty sure they covered a lot of content. If we continue playing the Asia Cup regularly, we can finally dream of playing the World Cup. This one, again, I did see. By the way, big up, yeah, Pranay.
I think this is the right approach. This is what we should be aiming to be as a footballing country. What we are doing right now, these qualifiers, this is not where we should be. We're better than this. We should be qualifying and playing the Asian Cup every 2 years. Every 2 years, that should be the aim. Because once you are a regular in, for example, just take the case of the Euros. Once you're a regular in the Euros, that automatically raises the standard of football you're playing every international break. If we are competing at the Asian Cup every 2 years, I think that's the first step, and then obviously the FIFA World Cup.
बिल्कुल. And I think Nitesh, it kind of connects to this question as well. The fact कि आप highest level of Asian football में खेलो, तो आप ज़्यादा you will be under the eyes, you will be under the radar of many kind of scouts elsewhere as well. आप देखो AFC Asian Cup is a brilliant platform. AFC Champions League is a brilliant platform, and these are things that we need to do well in those tournaments as well, of course. लेकिन even as individuals, this can be. I think Sunil Shetty sir ने बोला already. This is a dream for him to kind of go to the AFC Asian Cup and actually do well this time around. In 2019 में भी हम थे. So that is something that hopefully India can get there. Firstly, again, we are maybe jumping the gun thoda. Again, let's be optimistic and let's say that we have to win tomorrow and we go with flying colors and go there and do well, because that can really bring about a lot of change in Indian football generally. आप देखो यार, when it comes to other sports, I think the global level जो sports होते हैं ना, that raises some kind of awareness at least for a good few years, और तब हमारी management और हमारी government थोड़ा सा backing करती है versus us doing well within ourselves. Is it fair or not?
Yeah, I think that's why playing at the Asian Cup is important, because you're not just playing in just another football tournament. You're rubbing shoulders against, say, for example, Anwar Ali is going up against Heung-min Son every 2 years. That's what you want to see. That's the level you want to compete at. Whether or not I mean the result or what the outcome is, you want to at least be there. You want to be part of that. That's the only way you'll get better. Just on the point, I think about Indian players playing in European leagues. It's a very it's a very complicated matter, to be honest. There is a right age for an Indian player to actually get into a European team, and that age is usually between 14 to 18. And this is not something that I say. I think this is what Sunil Bhai also said. In one of the videos we did with him, where he spoke about the challenges he faced when he was in Portugal, competing against the likes of Eric Dyer, João Mario, and all of these other players who are 2022, and the level that they're playing at for 2-3 years, between that formative years from 14 to 17, that really sets the standard of how you approach football, the kind of mentality you play it with. So if an Indian player gets an opportunity to get into an academy at the age of between 14 to 17, that's the best way to go forward. When we talk about, say, Sandesh going to Slovenia, or even in the past, Gormangi Singh, former Indian centre back, when he had the chance to go to the A League and play for Melbourne Victory, for a 27, 28-year-old professional, there are a lot more problems to answer. Like, for example, when you go abroad and you're playing in a foreign country, you've got to take care of a lot of expense yourself. Does the contract actually justify the savings you would make back home? Can you afford to take that risk? Your footballing career is one, but you have to think of your life and everything around it. So when you're younger, or when Indian players are younger, when they get into academies, that's the bright hope. That's the hope that they will make it to a senior team.
बिल्कुल I kind of agree there. और yes भाई, यहाँ पर मैं लेना चाहता हूँ, यहाँ पर आगे यार, मतलब ऑलमाइटी ब्लूज एफसी इज अ फैन चैनल फॉर ऑल टू सी. ऑफ कोर्स हम हिंदी में बात करते हैं, काफी दफा हिंदी में करते हैं, क्योंकि यार हम इंग्लिश में भी एड्रेस करते हैं बीच बीच में, एंड दैट इज समथिंग दैट मे बी कम्स नेचुरली. मेरे लिए तो मेरी गलती है, लेकिन एट द सेम टाइम वी हैव सम ऑडियंस जो बाहर से भी है. तो अगेन हम इंडियन फुटबॉल को रिप्रेजेंट कर रहे हैं, इज व्हाट आई वुड लाइक टू से, इंक्लूडिंग यू, इंक्लूडिंग द चैट. तो हम बेसिकली we have to be more welcoming generally, वो मैं बोलना चाहूँगा. तो वही है हमारा चैनल का मेन ऑब्जेक्टिव भी वही है. तो यार अगर हम इंडियन फुटबॉल के बारे में बाकी लोगों को नहीं बोले तो उन्हें पता कैसे चलेगा. There's a bit of both, but definitely भाई हम करेंगे. What do you think about playing Sahel as a striker based on the finishing abilities? भाई वही मैं बोल रहा था यार, कल अगर दोनों खेल सके, and अगर he plays, maybe you said Ashik on the right side खेलेगा, that might be a change that then maybe Sahel को try कर सकते हैं भाई, along with Sunil Chhetri sir.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see Sahel play behind
Manveer out, basically out of the starting line.
That would be my change. I think Manveer, that would be my change, because Manveer, I feel, is someone who's really put in the hard yards over the first 2 games. His decision making is a bit erratic. There's no question about the effort and the work rate you'll get. He will track back, he'll defend, he'll help Roshan. All of that is great. But I feel like I would like to see Sahel purely because of the form. You want to see him behind Sunil and hopefully create 1 or 2 more openings.
Yeah, let's see. मतलब ये 4-3-3 has not worked badly for us, especially वहाँ पर Liston जो जिसकी हम बात किए काफी, मतलब he can be really effective in a proper 4-3-3 system. लेकिन वही है यार, again, would you call Sunil Chhetri sir as an outright about number 9 आज के दिन में? With this pace, I'm not sure. So वही मुझे लगता है कि maybe playing both of them together might just work. लेकिन वही midfield को they need to work really hard. When is match starting? कल
we got to
Yeah.
like be mindful of the fact that like Sunil is 37. Like, you know,
Exactly.
he's not going to give you that output as a number 9 in a 4-3-3. And that is actually one of the reasons why we are playing a 4-2-3-1, because a 4-2-3-1 actually puts him in the positions where we want him without him having to like, you know, chase around and do the extra work that is not necessary. Um, Also, we have to remember that Apuya is not fit. Apuya is not in the
Yeah,
squad.
Apuya is not fit. Yeah.
If Apuya was there, I think that makes the best case to play a 4-3-3. But Apuya not being there means that we have to play a double pivot, including Jackson or Glenn Martins, like, you know, as a defensive player, and with, like, you know, the other player, it's a toss up, like, between probably 4 players.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल और यार फुटबॉल भी कल है मैच ट्यूसडे 8:30 बजे आई थिंक स्टार स्पोर्ट्स और हॉटस्टार में कवर होगा इफ यू आर वाचिंग फ्रॉम होम and of course you can go to Kolkata and watch the match as well. That's an alternate option, just so you know. What format suits us better? I think already answered by Johnson वहाँ पर. Yeah, government backing funds also. Yeah, again infrastructure behind the things. मतलब ये is one of the main reasons, along with obviously, मतलब if we have to host a major tournament again, ठीक है, we need more than what's happening currently. वो तो it's without a shadow of a doubt. ठीक है, और वो एक टूर्नामेंट में प्रूव नहीं, we have to get the chance to be able to prove that in multiple tournaments. That's why मतलब thinking about a World Cup right now, I think is like, yeah, definitely that we should be ambitious enough and do that. Plan should be for that. Like, again, we should also at the same time, you know, be a little bit patient as a fan base. I genuinely believe that. Bhaiya, which academy is best for younger players? I think Ranjit Sarji jo kar rahe, he's doing a brilliant stuff. Yeah, मतलब what he's doing is probably second to none in India.
I mean, Roundglass really do a great job, like Minerva.
Okay.
But like, I mean, I'd say there are quite a few. It depends which part of the country you're in. Like, for example, if you're in and around Jamshedpur, I would say, like, you know, you should definitely go to TFA. TFA is an absolutely amazing football academy that's been like India's La Masia for over 30 years. FC Goa have an amazing setup, so if you're in Goa, you should like definitely try and get into that. If you're in Kerala, in northern Kerala, I would say Gokulam. If you're in towards Kochi or southern Kerala, then it would be Kerala Blasters. Similarly, I think look at like where you're from and like what would be the best option for that. Most of the academies sadly are outside of the metropolitan cities except for Bengaluru. I think Bengaluru being the exception. So depends on which part of the country suits you better. I think wo uspe dekho, and there are also Sports Authority of India institutes across the whole country that are a breeding ground to basically players who played both in the I League and national team.
Yes, of course. And of course, like recently, obviously, thanks to Johnson, Sevilla had come here and we can kind of spend some time. वहाँ पर we saw a few more plans coming through in terms of the fan base. So, you know, initiatives like these, maybe, you know, as हम बात करें ना, as in most of them are probably in rural areas, but जो नहीं है ना, that is where we can probably take advantage of that. Like, again, just as a content creator, just a plea here, I'm pretty sure Johnson will second that as well. Yeah, any help that, you know, any kind of club needs out there to kind of just, you know, put the word around about Indian football, I'm more than happy to do it, right? As in, I have to say that because अगर हम नहीं करेंगे तो यार, it has to start somewhere. So we have to start somewhere, and everyone watching, अगर मैं वही repeat कर रहा हूँ, it doesn't matter आप अगर एक मैच देखते हो या 10 मैच देखते हो, it's about just backing them the time you do, and of course criticize भी करो, because that is something that we need improvement in, and that will be highlighted as well. We should try for Olympics, and now after Asia, it will actually give us a lot of confidence. Hopefully, our national team pool is so small. That's why players like Pranay, मेरा वही reason था, मतलब एक चरण again coming back to your point, and अच्छा लगा कि आप अभी तक बने रहे हो, तो मेरा वही था, ज़्यादा teams होंगे तो ज़्यादा players आएंगे नहीं?
Yeah, I mean that's a very good point. More along with that, we have to play a lot more games. Like, you know, the fact that, like, you know, हमारा season इतना छोटा है doesn't really help. Our players should be playing a lot more. So that's a very big loss for us. In terms of Pranay, I feel like that's an unfair comment to Pranay. Like he's a really like, you know, a good like sort of like player for every team he's played in. The fact that a lot of players get picked for the national team, like, you know, is because of their familiarity with the camp. Pranay has been part of the Indian setup for over 7 years. So the fact that, like, when the new manager comes in, when he has to implement a system, if he needs somebody who can follow his orders to a T, he knows that, and not just him, but like the coaching staff of the Indian setup know that Pranay will do the job. And that is why, like, players like Pranay make the team, players like Pritam Kotal, Rahul Beke. I have called for Rahul Beke to be replaced in the national team quite often. But the fact that he gets picked, and when he gets picked and when he plays, he puts in, like, the effort, is testament to the coaching staff actually picking him. Like, so I feel like, just in terms of like Indian football, like, we have to be a little bit more suspect with criticism, because we can't really judge them the same way we're judging I don't know, Calvin Phillips for England. Like, the why is Calvin Phillips being picked for England is not the same as why is Pranay Holder being picked for India. Like, Pranay Holder would have gotten to play 16 games over the season if he's played 14 and he's done well, and if he's been in the previous national camp, he's a easy bet to, like, to actually ensure consistency.
Yeah, fair enough. And again, like again, lot of people have joined, and हम almost 50 मिनट तक हम बात कर रहे हैं, और हम करने वाले और भी. And yes, we will step into European football as well quickly for the transfers. लेकिन उसके पहले भाई सब लोग लाइक ठोक दो, और ये आज वाला लाइक ना मेरे लिए नहीं है, चैनल के लिए नहीं है. This is just for Indian football, because as I said, the algorithm is such that ज़्यादा लाइक्स करोगे तो बाकी लोग को एक मौका मिलेगा, something to know about Indian football. I'm hoping that ये 50 मिनट हमने जो बात किया, thanks to Johnson, there'll be a lot to learn as well. So yes, there are people out there who are wannabes, but we rather have more wannabes than have no one. ये मेरा है, तो इसलिए यार लाइक कर दो, और ज़्यादा just word spreads about Asian football, about Indian football, the more the better. So let's like the stream आज उनके लिए absolutely, and do not forget to subscribe to Super Power Football absolutely, and they're back. The bank, hopefully, if Indian players play in Europe clubs, हाँ हमने बात की already. Northeast signed star performance Santosh Trophy, Jitin MS. Okay, perfect. But isn't it increasing season by season like the time? Yeah, exactly. I think ISL is a big, huge change, a positive change. As there are other issues with the I League and ISL, but like हमने बात किया, लेकिन ISL certainly has helped in that matter. But yes, transfer talks. Okay, we are going to do that next. But before that, let's do a prediction quickly, people. Come on, India versus Hong Kong, the third game, the final game in the Group D of AFC Asian Cup qualifiers. क्या लगता है on form? You can say Hong Kong, but come on, man, with that adrenaline rush, come on, we cannot come up with a flat performance, especially in Kolkata. Am I expecting too much? Johnson, मैं बोलता हूँ यार इंडिया जीतेगी ये मैच. I know it's been a long time playing against Hong Kong, लेकिन मुझे लगता है scores होंगे दोनों side. I'm going for a 2-1 India. What about you?
I'm going 3-1 India. I think
3-1 India, nice.
Yeah, I mean, we're at home. Like, we scored a 90+2-minute winner. Like, if not now, then I don't know when we're going to actually, like, build on it. And like, I feel like Stimash has been brave. Like, he's been really brave in his selections, both against Cambodia and Afghanistan. So we will go there with all intent to win. And I think the crowd will really roar us on. So 3-1 for me.
You know what the best part will be? Like, I just wish that मतलब 3 goals हो जाए, वापस से सुनील छेत्री सर score करें. Obviously, we want him to get to the 100 quickly. Before he ends. Hope I'm still optimistic he will, but it's about other scoring as well. That will give a different level of confidence even to Sunil Chhetri sir himself, right? And that's the best part that I'm looking for this game. To be honest.
Frankly, if all 3 goals were scored by anybody not named Sunil Chhetri, I would be equally happy.
That is the best case scenario.
Because I feel like he would be the happiest if that would happen. More than anybody else in the country, he would be the happiest that there are 3 other goal scorers for us.
Bilkul. But yes, a lot of talk around Indian football, and of course people who just joined, we did speak about it and a lot more. But coming to European football, because again, यहाँ पर भिड़ रहे हैं Chelsea fan और Liverpool fan. We are taking a different avatar because yes, we love every football. Here Johnson, भाई Darwin Nunez coming. People, यार आपने देखा होगा poll ले लीजिए. But do you think? Let me frame it in a better manner. What is the percentage of money that you are paying extra for Darwin Nunez? What is it really worth? 75 million euros plus add-ons make it to 100 million euros. Lekin, what are you seeing in terms of the money, value for money coming?
I mean, see, it's quite hard to actually evaluate कि यार ये 60 million pound player है, 50 million pound player है, क्योंकि market ऐसे function नहीं होता ना. Like, for example, हालैंड का रिलीज क्लॉज सेट किया गया था, like when the market was completely different. Like
Correct.
they
और
are paying
Grealish
the
का
price
एकदम
for it
opposite
now.
था.
Exactly. So like the market doesn't evolve in the way Jurgen Klopp or Pep Guardiola wants. वो तो like market decide होता है कैसे चलता है. In this market, I feel like the fact that a striker is this expensive is only because I mean we've seen with Aurelien Tchouameni that clubs will spend big when they want really to secure potential. So it's hard to say exactly how much we overpaid. We definitely overpaid, but I feel like it's a really good signing. And pardon all of the like Darwin puns, but like I feel like this completes the evolution of like Klopp's new team.
Wow, and that's a proper red speaking now. लेकिन हाँ, see, मैंने खुद चैनल में बताया यार, मैंने actually डिटेल में उसके लिए स्ट्रीम किया था 2-3 दिन पहले, और the moment it was imminent, right? I know Manchester United came in, but let's be honest, at this point in time, just like I say that, yeah, I consider Manchester United being one of the biggest clubs in the world, but at the same time, last 10 सालों में क्या किया है, plus अभी चैंपियंस लीग फुटबॉल नहीं कर सकते, right? नहीं दे सकते, तो Darwin Nunez would have obviously gone there, और वहाँ पर रोनाल्डो ऑलरेडी थे, तो I don't think there was a competition anytime. It was about Liverpool, pulling the plug or not. That was the biggest thing. और वहीं पर मैं आऊँगा क्योंकि Jurgen Klopp, is he kind of, I know a lot of tweets going around, pretty sure आपने देखा है, मतलब no pun intended. I love the guy. I thought that he should be the manager of the season, unlike बहुत लोग जो agree नहीं किए थे. लेकिन at the same time, I think the guy has double standards when it's what he speaks यार. मतलब he said about paying, not paying, and then now he's accepted this, and that's the reality of it. Maybe inflation or what?
No, see, I think देखो, like football Twitter and like social media is always going to troll. They're always going to make up their own agendas. But every manager has contradicted himself at some point in their career. That is just how football is. Like Pep did the same thing when he was at Barcelona to the manager he became. Jose was the same. Every manager will do that. That is just that's just bound to happen. I think वो उसका मतलब क्या होता है is what is important. When like Klopp spoke of £100 million signing on Pogba, I feel like he was talking about spending the spending power of Manchester United, which very frankly is still like unrivaled. I mean, still if United were probably the only ones who would have caused like any sort of bother in Anfield for the Darwin Nunez signing. Like Atletico wouldn't even stand a chance, but just because of the financial power that United have. So like when he's talking about when he spoke about Paul Pogba and 100 million, I think he was talking about the spending power of Manchester United without really having to rely on sales. Like it's been very clear since he's been here, it's been very clear since FSG has been here that we can't spend anything more than we make. We sold Torres, we bought Suarez and Carroll. When we sold Suarez, we bought like all of the other raft of players. When we sold Coutinho, we bought like another couple. I mean, when we sold Sterling, we bought another couple. We bought Mane. So it's always been like not Mane. When we sold Sterling, we bought Benteke and who was it? Bobby.
Yeah, there were a set of people who came in then as well. I remember that, but
exactly.
See, it doesn't matter at the end of the day. You're right. It kind of balances out because larger picture, even if you're spending right. That is something that I envy about Liverpool as a Chelsea fan.
I mean, to be honest, like it is gonna. I mean, we've spent before we actually sold, so इसलिए सब उठ रहे. Otherwise, it would have been like Sadio will leave for around 35.
And I think पैसों की बात करनी नहीं चाहिए. It's about what players you're signing.
Exactly.
I don't remember a single big money signing which has not worked for Liverpool. Maybe Naby Keita, but even he's done the job.
Yeah, I mean, I was just about to say probably Naby.
Yeah, मतलब big money signing की बात हो रही है यहाँ पर, तो you have to say यार, और again my opinion तो यही रहा है चैनल में, people see like again adding to what you said that yes, Darwin Nunez is very young, he's proven only in the Portuguese league, लेकिन अगर Benfica से कितने लोग आए और अच्छा किए हैं, there's a record about Benfica players coming. Even in Chelsea, I remember a good few players coming from Benfica. At least 3 in the back of my mind. I remember David Luiz, I remember Ramirez. I know they were different position players, but even Matic changed his game totally in Portuguese football when he came back. in under Benfica. So I think there is a fact, or of course more recently you had Bernardo Silva being the star player coming from Benfica, Ruben Diaz. तो इतने सारे लोग हैं, तो I don't think culture will be such a problem because इतने लोग आए from the Portuguese league in the English league. So I don't see that as a huge issue. The only thing is, does he have time on his hands? क्योंकि ये होता है ना price tag. And talking about Liverpool, Chelsea, Torres is a great example the other way around. तो वहाँ पर होता है price tag weighs on your shoulders, and that's where I kind of agree with Johnson क्योंकि यहाँ पर they already have a Firmino, they already have a Jota, ठीक है, और they already have a Salah. So those are players who can score you all the goals, ठीक है. Plus they can mentor Nunez. Nunez जो Champions League में already proven is probably going to be starting come the second month of the season, I believe. पहला month में you kind of get that along with pre-season जो, and it will I know technically he's not signed yet, right? But we know it's happening.
Yeah. So I think he is in Liverpool abhi.
Correct. So it's quite early. So it'll help. That'll only help him. So I would say yeah, थोड़ा overpay हुआ है, but again it's not bad overall. लेकिन I have to directly concentrate on. I have to directly compare with this Johnson, please. Haaland. I know Kane तो अलग है, लेकिन if Haaland like Haaland to Man City is probably like ready right about now. But would you argue that the way Liverpool play, probably Darwin Nunez suits better?
Yeah, 100%. I feel like Haaland is like, if it wasn't for Harry Kane, I think Haaland is your typical Pep striker. Like the amount of chances they create without someone to put them away, and the amount of goals Haaland scores by just putting chances away. Like it is in my opinion, like it's a match made in heaven. I think it's perfect for club and for player. I don't think Liverpool were ever in the race of Erling Haaland. I think very few clubs would be, especially considering his salary demands. So it's just perfect, man. Like I was worried that probably that would really extend the gap between like City and the rest. But I think with Darwin Nunez and even like the seriousness with which Klopp and like Liverpool approached Aurelien Tchouameni, despite going up against Real Madrid, like it really shows कि यार invest तो करेंगे and like नए players आएंगे no matter what. The fact that we are losing so many players doesn't really help. Like for example, Sadio, as we spoke, is going to go. Divock is off to AC Milan. Taki Minamino will either be going to Wolves or Monaco for around 20. So like in that, like half your strike force is gone. You look beyond that, Ox is going to go. So there has to be quite a lot of reinforcement. So exciting summer.
Yeah. Exciting, and of course, talking about exciting summer, Chelsea may be काफी exciting summer होने वाली है. Petr Cech has actually said that, and that's, I don't know whether he meant. I know Tuchel says about exciting. You have to be careful. He's more of a coach mindset. Na, he's talking about working on the field versus transfers. So time will tell. लेकिन Johnson, I'm hoping you have a few more minutes because I can continue forever. तो कितने सारे news है, लेकिन just want to make sure that you're okay. But हाँ, shout out to Darren, obviously a new member in the house. Darren, काफी अच्छा लगा आप आए, लेकिन हाँ मैं देख रहा हूँ काफी सारे बाकी क्लब्स के सपोर्टर्स हैं. ऑफ कोर्स हम शुरू किए लिवरपूल से, हम आए मैन सिटी को, हम थोड़ा बहुत चेल्सी को टच किए, अभी और बात करने वाले चेल्सी के बारे में, टॉटनम के बारे में हम बात करने वाले हैं, एंड ऑफ कोर्स इवन ला लीगा क्लब्स के भी बात करने वाले, बिकॉज देयर आर सर्टेन स्टोरीज यस व्हिच आर इंटरलिंक्ड. तो हम आने वाले एक बार वन बाय वन. सो डू नॉट स्पैम इन द कमेंट्स. सब लोग लाइक कर दीजिए, शेयर कर दीजिए, एंड ऑफ कोर्स डू नॉट फॉरगेट टू सब्सक्राइब टू आवर चैनल्स and Super Power Football as well. All are linked below in the description. Yeah, Nori is an interesting guy, man. तो अभी आज के दिन में क्या हुआ है मालूम है जॉनसन? तो we have been linked obviously to Nori from Wolves, the left back, and Ferland, Mendy. I think both Manchester United and Chelsea have been linked. I think यहाँ पर थोड़ा सा lazy journalism है when it comes to Ferland, Mendy. They are probably assuming कि यार with Rudiger going there, Alaba will be playing left back, so he might be available. But come on, if they had to kind of downgrade in one position, upgrade in another, that wouldn't be Real Madrid where they were the Galacticos of the old. So I actually do not see that happening. वो तो weak लग रहा है. लेकिन how about Nori, the kind of guy that he was with Wolves? You think he's the kind of maybe under par signing जो Chelsea को चाहिए? Maybe we sign too many big names, or he'll be a great support for Ben Chilwell.
I think that would be a very smart signing. It's a very like if we did that, I would be very proud, and I would say that's a very Klopp signing. Like you're getting
exactly.
Yeah,
basically we are getting a Shimikas or a Robertson.
Exactly. Like it's a very smart signing, क्योंकि like देखो, you're getting a really young player ज़्यादा expectation नहीं है. He's not coming in to displace Chilwell. He's coming in to fill in and learn. The fact that he is a specialist fullback, I mean wing back, मतलब कि उसका position तो guaranteed है system में. तो कहीं ना कहीं तो games मिल जाएंगे. And like he shouldn't even have too much of a fuss because he's clearly going to be getting a chance to play in the Champions League. So looks like a really smart signing. I hope it happens. In terms of like, I feel the others, it's quite interesting. Yeah, I think the Mendy thing definitely is very lazy journalism. Because it doesn't make sense at all. Yeah, Marcelo has left the club. You don't have a spare left back. Why would Mendy go?
Exactly.
Like, I mean,
literally there'll be no one. Yeah, come on, Alaba by himself and Nacho, you can't expect him to play there. Come on, week in, week out. Good point. Koulibaly, bhai, latest report ye hai, Darren or everyone else were asking as well, that unfortunately he is preferring Barca just like Lewandowski is. I don't know why. पता नहीं Mendy अपना Edward Mendy, भाई साहब ने उनको convince नहीं किया है अभी तक. Looks like he is preferring Barca again. Respect to him. I think यहाँ पर Napoli somewhere down the line, Napoli का है यार against Chelsea. Somehow 36 का आंकड़ा है और यहाँ पर somehow they are very hesitant to give players to Chelsea. और मुझे पता है as a matter of fact हमने 40 million euros और 10 million euros का net salary per year offer किया था, लेकिन Koulibaly he is preferring that अभी तक. लेकिन things might change depending on Kounde situation. We might up that क्योंकि Kounde Sevilla apparently again they haven't budged. We have made a formal offer. And I believe it is in the 50s million region. But again, I think they are expecting in the 60s, higher 60s or closer to 70, which isn't happening. But मेरे ख्याल से एक तो आने ही वाला है यार. Let's be honest. We have to be realistic. इतना time देकर भी नहीं आया तो फायदा क्या है? Jesus यार, Darren, I don't agree, man. What do you think about Jesus, Johnson? Gabriel Jesus, if he comes to Chelsea, because we already have a person who does most of that in Havertz. Don't we need a proper focal point as a difference to replace Lukaku?
I think you either get rid of Lukaku and build a team around Havertz entirely, or you get somebody to replace Lukaku and get a number 9 as it is. I would say Raheem Sterling is a far more smarter signing than Jesus from City. पहली बात तो it will be difficult for Chelsea to actually buy from City because I don't think City are going to be nice selling to somebody. They will
that only Chelsea does, bro. That only Chelsea does. Chelsea sells to basically rivals. हम लोग बाकी लोग के नहीं खरीदते. Think about a lot of examples, not directly but indirectly. Bhai, obviously leading towards the Salah and Kevin De Bruyne and a lot more. Real Madrid made Courtois. Not that I didn't like it, but even Hazard for that matter. लेकिन हाँ ये वाला ले लेते हैं भाई, आपका comment ले लेते हैं. आप spam मत करिए भाई, मैंने इतना बार बोला, मैं spam करके बोलूँ क्या पता नहीं, कोई नहीं. But thanks for coming. Your thoughts on 5 subs rule in Premier League? How much it will affect the squad depth? I think वो एक चीज है. Maybe Premier League clubs might be open to a little bit more squad size because of this reason, quite obvious. It'll be easier to manage squads, in other words.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot more game time for everyone going around, and it is definitely going to help the big teams, man. Imagine, to be very honest, 60 minutes into the game, Klopp decides, okay, I'm going to change formation. I'm going to go 4-2-3-1 now. We're going to play 4 attackers. Or Pep is 2-0 down against, West Ham, who have gotten a smash and grab. And 60 minutes in, he changes all 4 attackers. I mean, it really is lopsided in who's going to get advantage from it. But I think it makes it more exciting. As a fan, it keeps the players on field a lot more fresh, which means that the level of football will be better. And the fact that there are more substitutions means there's more jeopardy. It's if you make a substitution, you're affecting the game. If you don't, you're still affecting the game. So either way, it makes the game more exciting.
बिल्कुल यहाँ पर maybe that is one of the reasons जो Billy Gilmour का extension है. Yes, for Chelsea fans out there, काफी हमने बात की थी about Billy Gilmour entire last year. Norwich में basically it's the wrong club for him, whatnot. Even Deansmith went, it didn't work out. Lekin the fact that he's been extended, it's at least Chelsea believe in him. It's not just to extend the loan army. Yes, he might just still go on loan, possible. Lekin the fact that we believe in him, we don't want to let him go, and we really believe he can make the difference when he kind of gets ready. Kab bologe, when he's actually physically ready. Plus the fact that he can take things by the scruff of the neck. week in week out. And let's be honest, Shubhadi, वो नहीं है अभी. I won't mind being having Gilmour as an option in the squad, because that will give us an option of going 4-3-3, which I am seeking to as a Chelsea fan. Maybe I'm in the minority, but I am really wanting us to change, because क्या ही तो हमने जीता है last 5 years in the league. So I would want that change to come about, right now before pre-season. So he can be a good option. But again, let's see what else is an option for Chelsea. So I think I think Kounde हमने बात कर ली है. Dembele looks like it's happening. The latest is वो ये offer गया है from Barca. And he's got an improved contract offer from Barca. लेकिन लग रहा है from reports that he might not accept that. So it looks like Chelsea are still favorites when it comes to Dembele, and it will make a huge difference for me still. Gabriel Slonina, that's the goalkeeper. So Real Madrid apparently are not going for him because they might get I think Ospina on a free, if I'm not wrong. So वहाँ पर that might be one of the options for them, and that's why they're letting go this opportunity of signing the Chicago Fire goalkeeper, who's a youngster. And Kepa might go, so that is quite possible. Yeah, this is done. We already covered in various streams already. लेकिन यार Dumfries, man, one guy that you've probably seen internationally, Johnson. Dumfries, he's been linked to multiple clubs, especially Chelsea and Manchester United. Okay, I know right back, as in you guys arguably have the best right back along with our right back already. Just saying it out there. लेकिन हाँ, I have to say that Dumfries is one of my favorites personally.
Yeah.
1 year at Inter. आप बोल सकते हो 1 year के बाद क्यों ही तो आएगा, क्यों इंटर जाने देगी, but the fact that Inter still do not have so much money, and अगर if they are going for the Lukaku deal, for example, then they might have a thing that okay, हमें देना पड़ेगा Dumfries, who's been one of our better players. Again, do you see that happening to Chelsea or Manchester United, and which team needs him more?
I think it definitely is going to be happening for Inter because like I mean, no matter like how much Serie A has improved, it still doesn't have the same financial power as any of the other leagues. So like if a club seriously wants one of their players, it's very hard for an Italian club to actually say no. Even if Dumfries has just moved there a season ago, as a player, I think Dumfries is a really so he's a very how do you say, it's a utility right back. Like he's good at everything. He's not spectacular at anything.
Exactly, he's not spectacular. At the same time, he does a job. He does a job for you.
Yeah.
आपको हर जगह. He's not like वो हकता नहीं properly. He's like someone who actually stands up to wherever is required.
Exactly.
Or he's played in different formations also. That's the best part. So he has played in four at the back. He has played in 5 at the back. So like I was saying about flexibility, like Reece James can come right centre back. He can go right wing back, or they could just, because Reece James or Ben Chilwell are coming after long injury, we won't want to risk them again, so there might be a good option of rotation as well if we are able to manage that with 5 subs.
Although I feel like he's more likely to go to United, like very frankly.
That's a bit I didn't want to hear, but that's the reality. I agree with you.
Yeah,
they need him more. They need him more.
Yeah, he's guaranteed more first team. Like
that's Dutch football makes a difference to Ten Hag, right?
And Ten Hag, like I mean, he gets a chance to play under a Dutch manager, so I think United's more sort of. I think United's more likelier to go for him. I mean, I'll tell you a funny story. I think when Aaron Wan-Bissaka, when United finished second, right, the season where Liverpool had I think 6 injuries at centre back. So a lot of United fans were coming at me and they were like talking about, oh, where's your right back and this, that, and all of that jazz. Just because I think Wan-Bissaka put in 10, 20 more slidey challenges over the last few months of the season. So at that time I said that, Aaron Wan-Bissaka doesn't even intimidate me. He's probably going to be at Burnley or Norwich in 3 seasons time.
Wow. As in one. You require an applause for that.
Now, I'm not even kidding. The amount of grief I got for that, like from United fans.
I can imagine.
Everyone, chatting crap. Everyone reminding me that every time Wan-Bissaka played a good game, everyone was like, oh, where was he off to again? Burnley, right? In 3 seasons. This year, I think, would be his 3rd season. If he goes before that, I mean, I really need to go and find those old groups again and figure out where are those messages.
No. I think right now, Super Power Football is anyway back. You got to find that tweet or message of yours, just paste it there, bro. That's the best part. The best predictors of football that there are. But having said that, again, he's a good player. But again, I don't think he's cut it, simply put. And I agree with that absolutely. Talking about Manchester United itself, Antony, why again? Literally, he's been linked to every Dutch player out there. Ten Hag. So it's very difficult to call which are likely to fit out. But they have apparently bid 45 million euros is what we're talking. Is it enough? Yeah, 45 million euros. आज के दिन में it's a bargain, yeah, for Antony like player who proved it in the Champions League so recently, नहीं?
Yeah, but I think Ajax are a selling club. बेच देंगे वो. Like
बेच देंगे क्या?
बेच
अरे भाई
देंगे.
तो
मुझे तो लगता
चेल्सी
है
को
बेच
भी देते
देंगे.
भाई. I'm a Dutch fan, internationally, just to like in terms after India of course. लेकिन तो वहां पर इतना क्लोजिंग में देख रहा हूँ, इतने सारे सीन में इतने प्रॉमिसिंग प्लेयर्स है, वी डोंट इवन गो एंड इन्वेस्ट अगेन. आई डोंट नो फॉर व्हाट फॉर. सो आई एम लाइक नहीं एक तो ले लो भाई. जीएश वाज हाफ डच, you can say that, but that was the closest that we got to in terms of first team players. But Antony is a good player, man. Raphinha, I think Arsenal, they are now moving towards Bowen, we were also trying. Like, who do you think is better for Arsenal? Like, do they need either? Because they are dono
I
Saka
don't
ke
think they
position
need
mein
either.
chahiye.
Honestly,
Exactly.
I feel like what they need is a number 9. Like I heard वो लोग कहाँ पे I think Scamacca. They're going after Scamacca. Gianluca
Scamacca, they need a striker. Exactly, I agree with that. Because I think Jesus to Arsenal has kind of fallen off after they missed out on Champions League. So वो एक possible Scamacca might be a possibility after looking at the Nations League as well. Lekin, do you think Liverpool should look for Henderson options? Honestly, what does he do? अरे भाई ये थोड़ा सा
like honestly speaking, I think Hendo, in my opinion, is one of my favorite players.
Of course, he was a must. Yeah, the Champions League final. He was a must.
Yeah, we don't even play the same without him. Like, and it's not even the football में वो बोलते हैं ना, there are tangibles and intangibles. Tangibles वो होते हैं जो statistics में गिनते हैं, and intangibles are the ones that actually.
Mason Mount का बड़ा भाई है. Mason Mount का बड़ा भाई है. Simply put.
Yeah, like I mean, like I'm not even kidding. The amount of times like when he's on the pitch and when we are not playing with him, like difference is there. Intensity may in the sort of sharpness in the way we play. He's 32 now. He just completed, I think, 12 or 11 years since he signed for the club. In my opinion, he's probably like goes down as one of like Liverpool's greatest captains. He's nowhere close near Steven Gerrard as a player, but as a captain, like for everything he's done, both as a professional in his career and like with Jurgen Klopp since he took over in like this Liverpool team, quite frankly, has been punching above its weight, is still punching above its weight, like by quite a distance, and that is because of people like Millie, like Hendo, like Jurgen, who ensure that it's either perfection or nothing. So I think till Hendo has a contract, he just signed an extension. I think till 35 he'll be there. My opinion is that I think Millie moves on next year, most likely like either into the coaching staff or somewhere else, and Hendo kind of takes up the Milner role, where he becomes a squad player and a club captain.
या फिर ना यहाँ पर आ जाते हैं यार. सिद्धार्थ काफी देर से इंतजार कर रहे. सिद्धार्थ, थैंक यू अगेन यार. बाकी लोग भी, सब लोग, we are over an hour and 15 minutes. Hopefully yaar you get us to 100 likes so that we have more people joining towards the end of the video, because we are just kind of ending it in a few minutes. Spurs transfer news yaar yahi hai. I think Estupian is one player that in fact 2 players from Villarreal they're targeting. The fact that unko they got a Perisic, they are now trying for Estupian, the defensive version of that, because for whatever reason Reguilon has not worked out well with Conte in terms of off-field issues, it seems. That's what I hear. So वो एक लग रहा है, लेकिन again will Villarreal be? I know they are a selling club as well at some point. Like I really feel that they might not give Estupian, who has really come up from in the last few months. Like, what about Pau Torres? Because Bastoni they missed out Johnson. Pau Torres to Manchester United was taking momentum. Like, in the fact that they might get Timber because of the Ten Hag factor. They might be okay, because as it is they can't offload Maguire. For sure, it's very difficult. Or they have Varane, who's great. Like, let's see where he does this season.
ऐसे थोड़ी है कि मतलब खरीद के लेके आओ, खिलाओगे कहाँ पे? Like already you have what? Varane, Maguire, Lindelof, Bailly. Like
Bailly is going out. वो तो लग रहा है. लेकिन
I still haven't. I'm still on the books, right? I mean, they've got about 6-10 centre backs still on the books. So
So Conte under Pau Torres, how do you see that happening? Like, would he first accept Tottenham, you think, or Pau Torres can actually be targeted by Chelsea?
Is centre back his priority though? like Conte's priority. I thought like in Christian
Yeah,
Romero
because Davis,
and
Davis, Davis है ना left center back को Conte plays 3 in the back. So Davis is not a guy that आप rely करोगे for 38 games a season. So they want someone who's basically just succeeding him or maybe is ready to start. Davis I think will not be very unhappy not to start.
Yeah, I mean then it's a really good signing. I think in terms of in terms of Estupian, I think that would be a really good signing. And frankly speaking, Spurs and Villarreal have a good relationship. Like Lo Celso is there. I think there is also कौन है यार वो
Foyt भी हुआ था.
Yeah, Foyt. There's a defensive midfielder also who was at Spurs who was there right now.
अच्छा, Gil went to Valencia ना? Brian Gil तो Valencia गया था. I think.
Yeah. So like ऐसे like they have a good relationship because of the players that have moved between them. So if they really want Estupian, I don't think it should be a problem. However, like I'm a little confused यार with Conte. Like उसका priority क्या है, because he's got a really
basically Conte is like यार अभी Daniel Levy might be just open यार, जितना मतलब वही एक opportunistic यार, जितना मैं ले सकता हूँ उससे ले लूँ, तो पता नहीं कब ये मुड़ जाए.
वॉलेट खोला है, जितना हाथ में आ रहा है एक झपटे में ले लो.
गुड वन एब्सोल्युटली. भाई जूड बेलिंगहम अभी कहीं नहीं जाने वाला, पक्की बात है यार. रियल मैड्रिड को कितने लोग चाहिए, वही मैन यूनाइटेड की बात होगी.
अगले सीजन ये जूड नंबर 8 एट
लिवरपूल बोल दिया यार जॉनसन ने. देखते हैं भाई वापस से, और इस बार चौबनी रियल मैड्रिड है तो नेक्स्ट सीजन यहाँ बीच में चेल्सी आ जाएगी होपफुली फॉर मी. लेकिन हाँ, कैल्विन फिलिप्स भाई, मैन सिटी की बात कर लेते हैं क्विकली, बिकॉज आई नो बारसा फैन माइट नॉट लाइक, मराठा पिलर इन द हाउस, बिग अप भाई, थैंक्स, ग्रेट था वो. लेकिन गावी टू मैनचेस्टर सिटी is kind of gaining momentum in the last 12 hours. I don't know कितना हो सकता है.
Gavi to Liverpool is also gaining momentum, but I feel like the only momentum that is gaining is the number of zeros on Gavi's contract with Barcelona.
That is true. वो likely लग रहा है, बिल्कुल. I agree. And I think मेरे ख्याल से it's all paper talk again, because I think Man City are pricing out Bernardo Silva. From what I hear, उसका 85 मिलियन डाल देंगे तो कोई बनता ही नहीं है भाई. अब लूक डियोंग को 85 में बेच रहे हो तो वापस से 85 उसमें थोड़ी खरीदोगे, वो बनेगा नहीं, तो नहीं होने वाला वो. हाँ, आई थिंक सॉरी नॉट लूक डियोंग, फ्रैंकी डियोंग टू मैन यूनाइटेड, वो तो फिर भी मुझे लग रहा है पॉसिबल है. लेकिन अभी एज पर रिपोर्ट मैन यूनाइटेड माइट बैक आउट बिकॉज ऑफ सच हाई प्राइस टैग फ्रॉम बार्सिलोना एज वेल. तो हो सकता है कि दे माइट मेक चेंजेस. और आज फ्रैंकी ने मतलब क्या स्टेटमेंट दिया, ही सेड कि Lewandowski is welcome to he's not taken the name, but Lewandowski will be great to play for our team. So obviously he's referring to Barcelona here. So looks like he's still looking at Barca. मतलब वो एक he's not moved out of that phase at all. Like मुझे नहीं लग रहा वो होने वाला है. Ruben Neves is back. The news of Ruben Neves is back to Man United. So that's again looking more likely. But again, big up to Eugene, a Spurs fan in the house. Nice to see you, Eugene. बहुत दिन हो गए. Man City are closing on Calvin Phillips. That is a possibility, लेकिन प्राइस बहुत हाई होने वाला है, ट्रस्ट मी. लीड्स आर देयर इन द प्रीमियर लीग प्लस द ज्योग्राफिकल राइवलरी. या एग्जैक्टली, आई एग्री विद दिस. लेकिन फ्रैंकी के जाएगा तो कहाँ जाएगा? मुझे लगता है he might just end up staying the way things are going. Lewandowski, but how do you see? अगर स्पॉन्सर मिल जाए तभी Lewandowski आएगा, simply put, नहीं?
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, देखो, like Barca's financial situation's quite a mess though. I don't think anybody's coming to Barcelona until somebody goes for a very big amount. Exactly. Even moving Deadwood is not that easy. And Frankie de Jong is definitely not Deadwood. So, like, I feel like Barca are well within their rights to really, like, raise the price on Frankie de Jong, because in Manchester United they have somebody who will spend. It's like Newcastle, when Newcastle were going and like negotiating with what's his name, Jean-Michel Aulas at Olympique Lyon for Bruno Guimaraes. He like they know that Newcastle is going to pay, so Newcastle is not going there for a bargain.
Correct. Correct.
Sir, आप number लिखो टेबल पे, हम चेकबुक लेके आते हैं. It's that sort of negotiation.
और सेम चीज बॉटमैन के साथ भी वही हो रहा है, क्योंकि बॉटमैन लास्ट टाइम also they negotiated up to a while. Like that's the difference between a Chelsea and Newcastle at this point in time. Newcastle are doing what Chelsea was doing in 2005. वो difference हो रहा है.
To be very fair, you have to do that, like, or else compete कैसे करोगे यार?
क्योंकि अभी यार टचवुड अगेन वो कोविड जोन पीक चला गया है, तो फॉर द टाइम बीइंग क्लब्स आर विलिंग टू इन्वेस्ट. आपको फ्यूचर बेसिकली एटलीस्ट नियर फ्यूचर का आपको दिख रहा है, तो विलिंग टू इन्वेस्ट. लेकिन स्पीकिंग अबाउट पीपल हु विल नॉट लीव, लाइक जस्ट एडिंग टू द गावी पॉइंट एंड बर्नार्डो सिल्वा फॉर रिस्पेक्टिव क्लब्स, आई थिंक क्विकली यहाँ पर मैं बोलूंगा Nkunku, द गाय वाज टारगेटेड बाय लेफ्ट राइट सेंटर एवरी क्लब. reports say that he is extending to RB Leipzig. But at the same time, a midfielder, talking about Chelsea, Matic, ex-Chelsea player and ex-Manchester United player as well, he is moving to Roma yet again under Jose Mourinho. भाई Jose Mourinho क्या उसका ASEAN था? This is basically ASEAN part 2, where
Yeah,
wherever
I mean,
Jose goes, I go.
to be honest, why wouldn't you? Like he knows exactly what he'll get out of Matic. Matic knows in Jose he's got a manager who really knows his strengths and can still get a good probably year or two out of him in football. So it makes complete sense. Italian league, the Serie A probably suits Matic better at this point in his career, and I feel like Roma could really do with someone with the experience of Matic, to actually step it up a level next year. So it does feel like, I mean, Jose's had quite a few, like this. He's got Ricky Carvalho as one. Then he got SCA.
Wherever he goes. In fact, Zlatan was one where he always wanted.
But he couldn't get
got him. Exactly. And eventually he got him. I remember Chelsea, every season he used to get linked with Chelsea, Zlatan. Yeah. Or even when he went to Real Madrid and that time a lot of things were happening. Inter, he couldn't kind of, use him entirely. So there were a lot of question marks. So he's always had that. I think Materazzi, agar he would have met a few years earlier, he would have been another Jose guy. Pretty sure.
Exactly.
He was met so just he gets a certain connect with someone. But SCN, I have to say, one of my favorite players. So I understand about. But Matic, at this point in time, I understand being going to Roma. But generally, I really believe that he's having max one more year in the top level, right? But
yeah.
Talking about Italian football, last but not least, Inter Milan as well. Yeah, Dybala is quite imminent. That's going to happen. I think all parties kind of agree almost. Looks like it's kind of any time it will be announced. But Skriniar, that one is interesting. Now Skriniar, now him leaving Inter Milan, I don't know. वो ये Dumfries वाला case बोलोगे? If they want to buy Lukaku, then they might give Skriniar. But PSG has come in as well now.
Yeah, and that makes all the difference. No, it's not like any other club. It's PSG who wants Skriniar. So I feel like that's a real test of how
correct
वो रहता ना एक investment term है hodl in a bear market, investors should hodl. So it is basically that for Inter this season. कि देखो, this year you really want to challenge AC Milan next season for the Serie A, but before you do that, you first have to hold on to all of your assets. Like there's so many players that everyone's eyeing up, and it's not like AC Milan are slowing down either. I mean, I'm excited to watch Divock with Rafael Leao and
मैं तो AC Milan supporter होकर मैं बोल रहा हूँ ना, this is the touchwood again. It can be the best part of AC Milan in the last decade, or it could go worse. But come on, I don't think it'll go worse because of what happened last season. So it can only improve from that matter. And I'm saying like for AC Milan, the biggest win will be now that they've made a couple of signings. I don't think they need to sign many. It's just about keeping the best. Rafael Leao is the best, like you said. Rafael Leao, the kind of guy is awesome, man. I'm really looking forward to it. But again, again, there are a lot of stories. I think the Skriniar part might be real because agar wo jata hai PSG, then I think Kimpembe becomes surplus to requirement because of playing in the similar position. You can say that. So Kimpembe to Chelsea is gaining momentum. Thiago Silva बोल रहा है कि Kimpembe आना चाहिए. He's actually like he's playing a Rudiger element, what Rudiger did to Havertz back in the day, right? So वहाँ पर maybe he can help us. But Kimpembe, do you see him fitting in the Premier League? I don't know, man. I'm in two minds.
I mean, I don't know. I've never been a fan, honestly, of
even me.
Kimpembe. I've watched him close. I've watched him play for PSG when I was studying in Marseille. I watched PSG Marseille. I think that was his first La Classique that season. He was very young, and he was so rash, man. He was so rash then. I look at him last season, and he's still rash. So I'm like, yeah, you played so many seasons of football. I mean, obviously he's a physical specimen as a defender, left-footed. So there are very few left-footed centre backs at that level. But for me to be a really elite centre back, he's a bit too rash, and I really don't see him leaving PSG. Frankly, he's like a Paris boy. He's like
fair enough.
He's spoken about his love for the city, for the club. So it will be very difficult for them to sell him. The only way I see him leaving is if he had a fallout with Kylian.
Yeah.
Or
again, I think the coach also depends. ना कौन आने वाला है with Poch almost going out, it. तो वहाँ पर
Christophe Galtier is probably going to be the coach. because
Okay.
I don't think Zizou's in the race anymore, and I think Galtier is like someone who has a lot of experience in Liga. So
Mm-hmm. Really, that's a fair shot, absolutely. But again, yeah, a lot of transfer talk. I know we kind of covered most of the clubs. हमने बात कर ली है. Come on, Real Madrid का और transfers करने की जरूरत नहीं है, to be very honest. So that's why I've not went in detail in Real Madrid. Congratulations to people who won it. But yes, in this stream we have discussed lots about Indian football, not just the upcoming match against Hong Kong, Kalka, लेकिन even the Afghanistan kind of reaction again or no reaction. We just love that, yeah. But a lot more. So do check it out for people who missed it. And again, everyone out there who's watching, it'll help if you can get the likes up. Certainly helps. Yeah, we just want the Indian football content, especially to kind of just gain more momentum, no matter what. Okay, and do consider subscribing not only to us but in fact even to Superpower Football, because like I say, I'm a fan of them. Been there, but yes, they are back with a bang, and you'll see a lot more content. Any final words, Johnson? Aapko?
no, I think thanks for having me on. It's been a really lovely chat, and always happy to have a talk about Indian football. I know there've been a lot of comments about us uploading videos, and I think that is what we're trying to do. We're trying to create more content going forward in whatever way possible for us at this point. So yeah, definitely thanks for the feedback. We will definitely be back with more.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल. I know you want us to discuss more clubs and all. No? Don't worry, we'll come in more news. We stream almost daily, but I'm hoping that again, keep supporting the channels, and it's about you guys, you being here, and of course it's an extended family, like I say. And thanks to everyone. Till next time, take care. Chalo,
Bye
come on,
bye.
India, do it.